You know, usually when we pick up a stack of research for these deep dives, the comparison the source is making, it makes immediate sense.
Right.
We'll look at, say, corporate strategy and military history, or maybe tech startups and biological evolution. You look at it and go, okay, I see the thread there.
Yeah, the logic is usually right on the surface.
But today, we're looking at a source that's trying to draw this straight line between two things that, I mean, on the surface.
They couldn't be more different.
Exactly. On one side, you have the manicured grass of center court at Wimbledon. You've got the bright lights, the celebrity, millions of dollars. And you have, arguably, the greatest athlete of all time, Serena Williams, about to serve for the match.
It's the absolute peak of, high-performance pressure.
Totally. And on the other side, we have a Tuesday morning in a boarding school dormitory.
Okay.
You've got cold showers, a roommate who hit the snooze button 6 times, a math test you definitely didn't study enough for. And
So the cafeteria just ran out of hash browns. It does feel like a bit of a stretch when you put it that way. The stakes feel slightly different.
Slightly. One involves a golden trophy, the other involves just, trying to survive until lunch.
Right.
But the document we're covering today, it's titled, What a Boarder Can Learn from Serena Williams, argues that the psychological machinery you need to navigate both of those worlds is actually identical.
Wow.
So what is the mission here? Are we telling students they need to treat their chemistry homework like a Grand Slam final? Because that sounds exhausting.
No, and I think that's where people get tripped up. The mission of this deep dive isn't to tell students to be these intense, hyper-competitive athletes 24/7.
Correct.
It's actually trying to redefine a word that I think has lost almost all of its meaning because we use it so much.
Oh, let me guess. Resilience.
Resilience. That's the ultimate buzzword. You see it on inspirational posters. You hear it in assembly. Corporate retreats love it. But this source argues we've been using it wrong. We tend to think of resilience as being tough or not having feelings, that stiff upper lip.
Right, like you're bulletproof, nothing hurts, nothing bothers you, you just bounce off walls like Superman.
Exactly. But this text flips that. It uses Serena's career to argue that resilience isn't the absence of struggle.
Okay.
It's simply the ability to function while struggling. It's about continuing to execute your routine even when you are tired or annoyed or losing.
That's a huge distinction, because if resilience means I never feel bad, then most teenagers, actually most adults, fail that test every single morning.
100%.
Yeah.
So the goal of this conversation is to take that high-level concept resilience and break it down into the actual mechanics. How do you build it?
Right.
And surprisingly, the answers in the text aren't about digging deep or wanting it more. They are very boring, very practical things.
Well, let's start with the first hurdle then. The text calls it the myth of ease. And I feel like this is something we are all guilty of believing.
This is a big one. Psychologists often call this the iceberg illusion.
Okay, break that down for us. What are we missing?
So when we look at someone like Serena Williams, or honestly anyone who is really good at what they do, a straight-A student, a virtuoso musician, a CEO, we only see the tip of the iceberg. We see the ace serve, we see the trophy, we see the admission letter to Harvard.
We see the result, the shiny
We
point.
see the result, and our brains are wired to take a shortcut. We think, wow, they're so talented. It must be so easy for them.
Right.
We assume their success is a natural trait, like your eye color. The source is very aggressive about dismantling this specific idea about Serena. It lists the reality. The years of drilling, the injuries, the losses, the criticism. It says explicitly, success was built on effort, not ease.
But here's my question. I think most people know, intellectually that hard work is required. We know Serena practiced, but when you are a student living in a boarding house and you see your roommate ace a test without opening a book, or at least it looks like they didn't, that myth of ease feels very, very real. It feels like everyone else got the manual but you.
That is the toxic part of the boarding environment the text highlights. You are living in a highlight reel.
That's a good way to put it.
You see everyone else's public victories, but you only feel your own internal struggle. You see them laughing at dinner, but you feel your own anxiety about the essay due tomorrow.
Yeah.
The text argues that for a boarder, you have to actively fight that perception. You have to redefine what winning looks like on a daily basis.
So if winning isn't getting the best grade effortlessly, what is it? Because we all still want the good grade.
It's strictly behavioral. The source lists specific actions that count as wins for a student. And frankly, they aren't glamorous at all.
I can imagine.
One of them is turning up when motivation is low.
Oh, that's the hardest one. It's easy to study when you're panicked or inspired. It's really hard to study on a random Thursday afternoon when it's raining, and you'd rather be scrolling TikTok.
Precisely. That is the win. The win isn't the grade you get 2 weeks later. The win is sitting down in the chair on that Thursday.
Okay.
Another one is accepting feedback and using it to improve and trying again after a poor result. The text is saying, stop looking for the feeling of ease. If it feels hard, that doesn't mean you're failing.
It means you're working.
It means you're working.
That reframing is actually really helpful, because if I believe success equals ease, then the moment things get difficult, I assume I'm not cut out for it.
Right. You think, I'm struggling and therefore I'm not good at this.
Yeah.
The Serena model is, I'm struggling, therefore I am currently in the process of getting better.
Which leads us directly into the second big theme of the text, which is our relationship with failure. And this is where the tennis analogy really holds up, probably better than any other sport.
It does. Because tennis is a game of errors. You literally cannot play a match without failing constantly.
Constantly.
Even if you win Wimbledon, you have hit the ball into the net or out of bounds dozens and dozens of times in the last 2 hours.
And the text points out that Serena has lost plenty of matches. She's been open about disappointment, about doubt. But let's bring this back to the dorm. In a school setting, failure feels heavier.
It feels sticky.
It feels sticky, yeah. Why is that?
It feels sticky because it feels tied to your identity. The text explicitly lists the kinds of failures a boarder faces. Missed deadlines, difficult exams, friendship challenges, and days when plans fall apart.
I'm glad friendship challenges is in there. Because in a boarding house, social failure is sometimes way more stressful than academic failure.
Oh, for sure.
If you fail a test, the teacher goes home. If you have a fight with your roommate, you still have to sleep 3 feet away from them.
It's a pressure cooker. You can't escape the witnesses to your bad day. And that's why the text introduces this idea of redefining failure. It says, these moments do not define you. How you respond to them does.
Okay, I want to push on that a bit. Because it doesn't define you, sounds nice on a bumper sticker.
Yeah?
But when you get a D on a paper you worked hard on, it feels like it defines you. It feels like the teacher saying, you are a D student. How do you actually break that mental link?
You treat failure as data. This is implied in the text discussion of feedback. If Serena hits a backhand into the net, she doesn't drop the racket and think, I'm a bad person.
Right.
She thinks, my footwork was off, or I swung too late. It's mechanical. It's physics.
So it's about depersonalizing the error.
Exactly. The text argues that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of the journey towards it.
The stepping stone.
It's a stepping stone. If you fail a test, that is data telling you that your study method didn't work or you didn't understand chapter 4. It's just information.
That takes the sting out of it. Instead of I'm stupid, it's I missed data point X.
And that shift is what allows you to be resilient. If failure destroys your ego, you'll quit. You'll stop trying because it hurts too much. If failure is just data, you adjust and try again. That is the Serena mindset. It's not about being happy about losing. It's about using the loss.
But to do that, to keep getting up and trying again, requires energy. It requires a system. And that brings us to the most practical part of the source material. Section 3, discipline.
I love this section because it stops talking about mindset and feelings and starts talking about operations.
It says resilience isn't an abstract state, it's practical.
Yes. It says Serena didn't just have magic talent. She had a routine. She had preparation. And the text translates this directly into a student toolkit.
And looking at this list, honestly, it's painfully mundane. If you were looking for a magic spell, this isn't it.
It really isn't. There's no magic pill here. It's very unsexy.
It lists sticking to routines, managing time, and this is the big one for me, looking after the body and sleep.
That is the first thing to go in boarding school, isn't it?
Oh, immediately. You stay up late talking, you cram for exams, you survive on vending machine snacks and energy drinks. It's almost a badge of honor to be sleep deprived.
Right? Oh, you got 5 hours. I only got 3.
Exactly. It's competitive suffering.
But the text argues that sleep is a resilience tool. Think about it biologically. When you are exhausted, your emotional regulation crashes. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that handles logic, it basically goes offline.
So when you're tired, small problems feel catastrophic.
Exactly. A comment from a friend feels like an attack. A hard homework assignment feels impossible. You burst into tears over a lost sock.
I've been there. So going to bed at 10:30 p.m. isn't just following the rules, it's tactical.
It's armor. You are protecting your brain's ability to handle the next day. If you want to be resilient like Serena, You have to treat recovery as part of the job.
Yeah.
But the text goes further than just sleep. It makes a strong link here between doing the work and confidence. It calls it the confidence loop.
I really liked this part. Explain that loop for us.
Well, a lot of students and adults sit around waiting to feel confident before they start working.
Yeah. Not in the mood, or I don't feel ready yet.
Right. The text flips it. It says, confidence grows when you know you have done the work.
Action precedes feeling.
Correct. Serena didn't walk onto the court feeling confident because she was deluded or just had a big ego. She felt confident because she knew she had hit 10,000 serves in practice. She had the receipts.
I like that. Confidence is the receipt for the work you put in.
It is. It's the evidence. So if you're a student and you're feeling anxious about an exam, the cure isn't to try and calm down or do breathing exercises, though those can help. The real cure is to do the preparation.
Because anxiety usually comes from a lack of preparation or a fear of the unknown.
Exactly. If you manage your time and stick to the routine, you walk into the exam room with evidence that you can trust yourself. You can say, I did the reading. I did the practice questions. That creates a very sturdy kind of confidence.
Evidence that you can be trusted. That's a powerful concept. It's like you're building a relationship with yourself.
It is.
But even with all the prep in the world, the text acknowledges that doubt still creeps in. And this leads to the fourth section, believing in yourself.
This is the mental game. External versus internal doubt.
The source notes that even Serena faced massive doubt from critics, the public, even her own internal voice.
Right.
But then it pivots to the specific flavor of doubt that lives in a boarding house, and it identifies the comparison trap.
This is lethal, and it's unique to that environment. In a normal day school, you go home at 3 p.m., you get a break, you can reboot.
But in boarding school,
You are living with your competition.
you see them brushing their teeth, you see them studying in the common room, you see them getting awards at dinner.
It's 204/7 exposure, and the text lists the symptoms of this. Comparing yourself to others, feeling behind or overlooked, and questioning your own ability. It is so hard to believe in yourself when the person across the hallway seems to be doing everything better than you.
And doing it with a smile.
And doing it with a smile. Yeah.
So how does the text define believing in yourself in this context? Because sometimes believing yourself can sound a bit like be arrogant or be delusional.
The text makes a crucial distinction here. It says true self-belief is not arrogance. It is a commitment to improvement.
Wait, say that again? That's not how I've ever heard self-belief defined before.
Self-belief is a commitment to improvement. It doesn't mean I believe I'm the best person in this room right now.
No.
It means I believe I am capable of getting better,
That is incredibly liberating.
isn't it?
Because it means I don't have to be perfect today to believe in myself. I just have to believe in my capacity to grow. I can be the worst one in the class right now and still have self-belief.
Exactly. It bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. The text emphasizes that even if you feel behind or overlooked right now, that is a temporary state. Your commitment to improvement is the permanent thing. That's what you hold on to.
It stops you from looking sideways at everyone else and keeps your eyes on your own path.
Stay in your lane, basically.
Hi, Elaine. Run your own race. Or I guess in this case, play your own match.
So we've covered the grind, the failure, the discipline, and the belief. But the text wraps up with a so what section.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about this? Is the goal just to get better grades?
No, and this is where the source zooms out. It describes the boarding house not just as a school, but as a laboratory for life skills.
Laboratory. I like that. A place where you run experiments on yourself.
Basically. It argues that the resilience you build trying to survive a term at school is the exact same resilience you will need as an adult. It lists specific outcomes, staying steady during stressful periods, and recovering from setbacks.
And one that really stood out to me was the ability to support others when they are struggling.
That's a huge one. We often think of resilience as a selfish skill like, I need to be strong for me, I need to survive.
Yeah. But the text points out that if you are steady, if you are disciplined, you become a rock for the people around you. You become a leader.
That's true. When the dorm is chaotic or everyone is freaking out about exams, the person who has their routine locked down is the one everyone looks to.
Yes.
They calm the room down just by being there.
They are the anchor. And the text says these skills matter long after exams are finished. 10 years from now, Nobody is going to ask you what you got on that specific biology quiz.
Thank God. I don't even remember what I got on my biology quizzes.
Right. But your future boss, your partner, your children, they are going to care deeply about whether you can handle stress without collapsing. They will care if you can bounce back after a bad day.
They will care if you are reliable.
Exactly.
So the boarding house is basically a simulator. The exams are just the weights in the gym. The point isn't the weight itself. The point is the muscle you build lifting it.
That's the perfect analogy. The content changes, math tests become mortgage applications or project deadlines or navigating a health scare, but the muscle's exactly the same.
It puts a different spin on a bad week, doesn't it? It's not just a bad time. It's a heavy lifting session.
It's training. You are training for the rest of your life.
Okay, let's bring this in for a landing. We've gone from Wimbledon to the dorm room and back again. If we had to boil this down for the listener, someone who is maybe in the middle of that heavy lifting right now and feeling the burn, what are the main takeaways?
I think there are 4 key mandates from the text.
Right.
1, keep going. Effort beats talent in the long run. Don't fall for the myth of ease.
Right.
2, learn from setbacks. Failure is just data, not an identity. 3, believe that effort matters. Trust the process and build that confidence loop. And 4, trust that growth takes time.
And the source offers a final reassurance, which I think we should underscore. It says, you do not need to be the best at everything.
It's such a relief to hear that. You don't need to win every point. You don't need to be the perfect student every day. You just need to stay in the game.
Serena Williams didn't win every match. She didn't win every point. But she showed up. She played the next point.
And that is the challenge the text leaves us with. It's not about winning. It's about showing up. Resilience is simply the act of showing up again.
So here is our challenge to you listening to this. Maybe today was a loss. Maybe you bombed a quiz. Maybe you had a fight with your roommate. Or maybe you just felt tired and didn't get anything done.
That happens. That was today's match.
The question isn't, why did I lose? The question is, how do you plan to show up tomorrow? Because the alarm is going to go off at 6:45 a.m.
Tomorrow is a new set. The ball is in your court.
Thanks for diving deep with us. Keep grinding, keep growing. We'll see you next time.